All right, let's talk about, well, we have a few minutes here before our events roll over. So one of the big prizes this time around in this event store, in our new editions, are Dolomite Particles. And for 22,500, you can get 240 of them. And some people are like, oh, wow, this is really exciting. This is really good. But some people may not know exactly what options are available to them with those Dolomite Particles. And I think we can use Spock's Club to figure that out, because I'm pretty sure there's like a resource allocation tab. And I think if I go with prime Dolomite Particles, it should show me all of the different researches that are available and where to find them that spend that material. So we can go look at them. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 researches that use these. So I'm going to slide this over here so we can look at them all in game one by one here and where to find them. Because most people are familiar with the two big ones that come out of the station tree, and we'll get to those in just a second. But we're going to take them, I guess, I don't know if these are in alphabetical order or how they're listed here, but Ex-Borg is up first. Ex-Borg credit efficiency is right here. Increases base cost efficiency of Ex-Borg faction credits in research. So this one right here is just going to make these other researches that use these Ex-Borg credits all get cheaper. If you're new to this bracket, that could be a big savings for you. If you've been doing this stuff for a while, you probably have a lot of this stuff done already. Only the first half of the tree uses the Ex-Borg credits. When you get out here, this is all more Borg cube based stuff. And now you're switching over to these advanced cybernetics for all of this research out here. So it's really only up to, I think, yeah, about here, right where that break point is here, that are using the common credits too. So I'm not a fan of this particular prime. I don't think it really helps a lot of players, and I think it's kind of something that's probably a little past its prime. Number 2, we go into the galaxy tree. We've got something called prime structure, which is right here. This gives you a hull health boost for all ships. Cost you 1,200 to give you a 400% hull health boost. I said hell, didn't I? You're a hell. But there's a second tier to it as well. That's another 400. So you could get up to 800% hull health. There's also one right below it for shields. It does the same thing. Now, again, depending on your ops level and things like that, there are a lot of things that are already adding to hull and shield health. Of course, getting more of these is always desirable. Let you stay in the fight longer, take less damage, repair less often, those kinds of things. But again, you are seeing diminishing returns here. You know, if by comparison, 400% hull health is less than many of you are probably getting off of, or around the same as what you're getting off of like your generator boost. Once you have that syndicate level that's giving you the bonus here, these generators start giving you a similar value. And while you may have noticed, all right, I got a little bit stronger when I got these, and shields are over here on your titanium generators, you know, was it a huge noticeable improvement? No, but it definitely went up a little bit. So those are okay, but when you start thinking about the cost associated with them, you know, they're 1,200 Dolomite Particles each, and I'm going to guess the second tier is the same price, probably another 1,200. That's pretty steep for that type of, you know, bonus and benefit. Chris is saying, look at the subspace relay building, the artifact gallery, and the facade. Those are probably 3 other buildings that are also given similar bonuses, right? The facade's giving you a hull health bonus at 1,200%, right? power creep. A number of the newer buildings and things that they've put into the game are giving you significantly artifact building, not command center. I'm actually upgrading mine right now, so it won't show me. And the subspace relay building. Well, this one just, yeah, has big bonuses to it, but obviously harder to source materials to upgrade. But yeah, you're getting some big numbers off of these as well, plus all the other research and things that you've got. So while those primes look good on paper, oh wow, another 400%, when you're already getting probably 5 to 10,000% elsewhere, adding an extra 400 to that isn't quite moving the needle as much as you might think it is. All right, let's move on to the two that everyone is aware of. These are the ones that came out, I think, first, and were supposed to be one of the bigger upgrades. And it's prime efficient ship parts and prime efficient ship engineering. One drastically lowers the cost of ship parts, which is probably the one you want to focus on more, because a lot of players are finding now, especially as the battle pass keeps getting better and better, the events keep getting better and better. Players are getting access to more raw materials, but where they're usually getting the bottleneck and upgrading their ships is the ship parts, especially when it comes to rare ship parts in the higher tiers. So most players will recommend upgrading this one as more of a priority. Excuse me. This one way more of a priority over the one that actually lowers the cost. Now, this one does also do titanium and dilithium costs, which can be pretty helpful as well in terms of getting those down. Because titanium can also be a problem with some of the bigger ships as you get into higher tiers and things like that. It is going to get exponentially more expensive to do those upgrades. Getting those done for a lot of players is where you're seeing more return on investment there. However, again, new buildings are also lowering the cost of those, because the holodeck right here also has a ship part cost efficiency. The holodeck also has a max level of 30. Don't know if you knew that or not. So there's a 200% bonus for you. Excuse me. Feel like I got a little frog stuck in my throat there. Insert pun about croaking. What? Oh, no. So, those are the ones that people are more familiar with. The other ones that we also have here. But wait, there's more. Also in the station tree, we have this newer prime that was recently added called Syndicate Spike, which is way out here. This one increases the amount of XP obtained from your daily claim by 400%. Now, obviously based on your syndicate level, you're going to see a different value in your daily claim. Some of you might be getting like 500, and you're sitting there thinking, all right, 400%, it goes up to like 2,000. That's not bad. That's a big improvement. But as you get to the higher syndicate levels, like I think mine just went up here when I got to level 45, and I feel like what I get now off my daily claim is, I want to say it's like 11 or 14,000. Now that I'm here at level 45, I crossed the threshold. And if that prime were to give me a 400% increase to this, I'd be getting like 60,000 syndicate per day or something like that. Which is a pretty huge, it's going to be huge. A pretty huge upgrade, especially when you start talking about these next couple levels and you're needing millions now between each gap. If I can get 40 or 50,000 a day just off of this, that's a pretty big improvement. It'll also have somewhat of an impact with all of those syndicate events that we get every month, and you won't necessarily be scrambling. You'll pretty much breeze through the first 2 milestones without even trying, and won't need to hold back and save things like your battle pass rewards or other event rewards and things like that. So this Prime Syndicate Spike 1 seems very good, and obviously it's going to persist. And as your Syndicate level improves, the base amount is going to go up, so therefore the multiplier is going to go up. So that one I'm kind of a fan of, and I think that's a pretty good one if you're thinking about where to put some Dolomite Particles too. We also, in the station tree, we've got a couple other ones for fleet commanders. A little further out here. Where did it go? Okay, so here's... I missed the first one. There it is, because it's not as noticeable. Fleet readiness. Increases base cost efficiency of skill points when upgrading fleet commander abilities. So this is similar to the ability that 7 of 9 has, right? Where she can lower the points needed to upgrade skills. This one is a 25% reduction, which is pretty good. Just for reference, 7 of 9's ability is kind of buried at the bottom of her tree there. And it costs, it's this one down here, right? Increase the base cost efficiency of skill points. It's always on, which is great. But look how much like rare you need. This is mine's only at level 2, and it's a 4% bonus. To go to level 3 to get an extra 2%, and there's 5 levels of this. It can max out at level 12 at a 12% bonus. But looking at how many rare currencies that you need and tokens, this is a pretty steep cost for a very low return there. So getting this ability out of the research tree seems way better. This one seems way better for that. And honestly, if you get this one done first, that would lower the cost of upgrading 7's ability by 25%, which would then make it easier to boost that. So then you could finish that one up faster and then make everybody else's skills that much cheaper to upgrade. It does require having 7 of 9, having her up to that level 50, and then continuing to invest in her with those rare skill points. Good for like an alliance tournament task. I believe there's some tasks to spend rare skill points. And obviously a 25% reduction might make that number a little more palatable for sure. What level building do you have to have? You have to have 50 to get the skill, and I'm sure there's probably going to be restrictions on it or with the fleet commander as you tier that ability for 7 up. 7 up. So I'm at tier 2, and I'm guessing if I want to take this up, you're probably going to have to, you know, well, she's already maxed out rank, but it might have to get to like 55 per se to, you know, go to skill 3 or skill 4 or whatever. I don't know exactly because they don't list that information online, but you're going to need to have the building at 50 just to start it, and then probably 54, 55 at the end to finish it. Seems like that's where they draw the line for a lot of those skill points, is 55 to kind of finish them up. So it's not a bad ability, and there is another one here in the station tree also for fleet commanders. It's a little further out. It is way out here in the G4, G5 boundary here. It's called Fleet Refinery Reward. This one basically gives you a daily claim that gives you 150 uncommon, 50 rare, and 50 epic commander credits every single day. This one, not quite as good. Better for lower level players who might be struggling to source the materials needed to keep ranking up their fleet commanders. But those materials are also available through the Borg refinery from doing the Borg solos. Once you get to level 40 plus and you're doing those solos, your reward chests, actually when you get to 50, I think is when it actually kicks in. You start getting fleet commander currency out of those when you get into the 50s. And if you have your Talios maxed in your refinery here, does it not give you? I thought it... Oh, never mind, because you still have the Armada chests. Duh. I'm like, it's not in the refinery. It's still in the refinery. Because these are the things that still remain. So these chests here, when you get into the 50s, will continue to source those materials for you. And they have a limited shelf life because there's only so many times you're going to be able to promote and advance fleet commanders. Now, of course, they're just going to keep coming out with these guys. Every 4 to 6 months, we'll keep getting new fleet commanders. But once you've gotten them all promoted to their maxed rank, these materials up here become a little less valuable. But this is the stuff you're going to get in a daily drip. And the amounts, again, are small, right? You're getting 150 a day, 100 of the rare and 50 of the epic. Well, just doing that pull every single day, we're talking about a month to get enough of this. And at 150, right? No. That decimal's in the wrong spot. Basically a year. 41,000 divided by 150, 273 days. So having that prime and doing that daily pull every day for 273 days, if that was the only way I was sourcing these materials, is what I would need to promote Janeway to her final rank here. So I don't see that being overly beneficial for higher level players. If you're still in your 40s, I can see that daily drip being useful because it's going to help you promote these fleet commanders where you might be struggling or not getting as high of rewards out of, your Borg refinery and some of these other places. And it gives you early access to some of that material. But when you're talking about players who are 50 plus, I don't think that prime is really necessary. Yeah, you don't get the epic materials until 51. You get the rares and the uncommons in the 40s, but the epic upgrade materials, which is why I think you're capped at, I want to say like rank 16 or 17 until you can start using epics for upgrading your fleet commanders. I think that's how that works. Thank you, Carissa, for pointing that out. All right, home stretch here. We got the final 4. The final 4 abilities. There's one more left in the station tree. It's called Select Ship Sustainability, and it's right back where we just were. Too far. This one improves the cost efficiency of Fuchsia parts, synthetic nitrium, ablative armor parts, plasma conduits, and Titan A parts. So this is going to help you upgrade the Fuchsia. Nitrium, that's what, the Mantis. Ablative armor is the Defiant. Plasma conduits is Voyager. And Titan A parts, obviously, for the Titan. A 30% reduction to upgrading those specialty ships, most of which are ops locked. This one's a complete pass for me. This is a no thank you. Because almost all of these ships are ops locked. Like the Fuchsia has an ops lock on it. The Defiant definitely does. Voyager has a tier lock per se, with where you have to be at least, you can get it to like tier 7 while you're still in your 40s, and then you're kind of blocked until you move into 51, and then you get the component to upgrade it further. The Defiant has similar blocks like the Talios does, where it's like 51 and then again at like 53 and 54 or 55. Not quite as bad as the Talios, but similar. It's got multiple ops locks in G5. So making it cheaper to upgrade the parts is very much just a hurry up and wait, right? oh, you're going to finish up that tier real quick, but then you're going to have to rank up 2 ops levels before you can move it again. At which point in time, while you're waiting for that, you're going to accumulate enough materials that when you finally do get it and can tier it up, you're probably going to do 4 or 5 components at that next tier already. So this one is a big pass for me. Also, speaking of things that are a big pass, in the Starship tree, there is one here for the Defiant. Prime Defiant ability efficiency increases base cost efficiency of the Defiant's ability. So what, this just makes the Defiant's ability easier, cheaper to trigger? That also seems like a big pass for me. I don't know about you guys. I don't use my Defiant very often to buff things. Probably, maybe I should. I don't know. I used to use it for solos, which is why this whole tree is maxed out. I have not finished even upgrading the rest of it for group armadas. You definitely don't need it down here for assaults. So this one seems like, you know, when you're out of stuff to use Dolomite on, sure, I'll take it for the research points. But probably not going to do anything there. And then the last two are related to Isolytic. And they are out here. So you've got a Isolytic damage increase. Base Isolytic goes up 5%. And there's a second tier that boosted another 5%. And the same thing with the defense boost, right? The defense gives you a 30%. Oh, it's a 1 level only. There isn't a second level on this. Okay. So you get a 30% defense boost to Isolytic. Base defense, not bad, but not great. 5% Isolytic. While it doesn't seem like a lot on paper, when you start using other officers that do Isolytic Cascade, like Gwen DeMarco, like 7 of 9, like E-Data and Janeway, and those officers, boosting the base number just means that when the multiplier of their abilities then kicks in, you get even further damage. So there is some significant value there to that. Any little bit helps because it's just going to make the snowball that much bigger as it's rolling down the hill. But it's only like a 5% bonus. And when you start thinking about where that sort of ranks in the priority level, I think it's a little further down. So I think looking at this list, if we go back here, these are all 12. I think Syndicate Spike is near the top of the list. I think Prime Efficient Ship Parts is near the top. And then right below it would be the Ship Engineering one. I wasn't overly impressed by these other ones here. The Fleet Commander ones. The Fleet Readiness one, I think, would be fairly decent as well to just make your skill points go that much further. And then maybe your Isolytic damage bonus. So if you're thinking about what to get and what to upgrade and what order to do it in and whatnot, you know, and if you're thinking about spending event store currency, hopefully that at least spells that out a little bit for you, because event store currency for this Dolomite is not cheap. And if we think free to play is only going to get like approximately, I'm just throwing a ballpark number out there, I'm going to say 225. I think that's what we've gotten in similar little 2-month event stores, is around 225, and it seems like we're on pace for that so far after week 1 here, wrapping up soon. So if you're saying you're only getting 225 out of here, that's 10 pulls at max of this, right? Which also seems like it's kind of on par. 225, that would give you 10 pulls of this, gives you 2,400 Dolomite Particles. That's enough for, again, depending on some of these tiers, they don't all cost 1,200. Some of the, like the early tiers on some of the, like the ship part efficiency ones, might only be like 400 or 600. So you might be able to get a little further for some of those. But if you're basically dumping almost all your event store currency for 2 primes, keep that in mind. It's good value. You're saving yourself 200 bucks compared to some of the other things in here. You know, the whip, which is a $50 purchase when it's available for sale. The Vindicator and the Protector were both $100 ship part purchases. You know, could you get some combination of this stuff? Like if you take the whip and then put the other, 3 or 4 bundles into Dolomite Particles, or, grab a handful of Vindicator or Protector blueprints if you need those ships still, and then put the rest into Dolomite. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to do for event store currency. And then you can get some of those primes unlocked and or upgraded. But the other thing I do want to, of course, point out is that there is significant sourcing, again, depending on your ops level, for Dolomite in the game through both the Section 31 store, which has a daily drip, does require you to do waves. It's 700 regular currency, Section 31 credits, gets you 10 per day. That could get you, we'll call that 300 a month. Also in the Ex-Borg store, there are these mega chests. Oh, look at that. I'm actually able to pull these today. Based on where you are. If you're in your 40s, you're only going to see this one chest unlocked. This one has 20 particles. You can do a double chest pull. It's epic currency only. So let's say I do this double chest pull right here and I get 40. That's got a 5-day cooldown. So we'll say I can do that 6 times in a month. I get 40 from that. That's another 240. The G5 one has a similar cooldown. This one could get me 30. So that would get me 60. 60 times 5 is another 300. And if you are a G6 player and you have access to this chest as well, now you're getting 40. Let's go ahead and pull that one. That just gave me 80. And again, they should have the same cooldown, right? Same 5-day cooldown. Yeah. So that gave me 80. And if I can do 6 of those, that's another 480. Did I do the math right on this one? 60 every 5 days. No, it's 60 times 6. It's 360, not 300. Thought that didn't look right. All right, so where's my calculator? So if you get 300 from the Section 31 store plus 240 from the G4 chest, that's 540 per month. So basically every other month you could get a prime. If you're a G5 player, you can tack on another 360 to that. Now you're up to 900 a month. That's almost a prime per month, depending on, again, which ones you're going after there. And if you're a G6 player, you can tack on another 480 to that, which gets you to 1380, which is where I am right now, I think, is at 1380. And that's over a prime per month. So the higher you get, I think the less you need to prioritize getting the particles out of the event store and focus more on being able to just get epic Ex-Borg credits, because I feel like you're going to just get more of a consistent return out of these chests, and that's your in-game built-in sourcing to unlock some of those primes, and therefore you won't need to spend your event store currency on that stuff instead. So, and just in case you need a refresher on where to get all those Ex-Borg credits, it's going to come from your NX01 refinery. You've got your regular opportunity chips, which have a small amount here, or you can gamble and try and get higher amounts, but the payouts on these are not good. 70-30, slightly in your favor. But if you're talking about, if you do 10 pulls of this at 21, and if you get more of this pull, 70-30, right? So you're going to get 7 of these, and you're going to get 3 of these, most likely. So you're talking about 7 times, that's 1,400 plus, yeah, like 1,450 ballpark. Versus over here, 10 pulls of this is 1,850. So for the epic, it almost seems like it's better to just take the safety pulls on this basic chest. The rare gets a little higher, I think over here you've got a better chance of getting some of the rares. But these are great to stockpile until the Alliance tournament, because there are some 10k point tasks that you can do that are like acquire whatever number of credits, and you just come in here, do a handful of pulls, whatever it is. I think it's 6,000 uncommon or something like that, and you're just like, okay, great, I'll just pull 10 or 15 of these chests, and bam, there's my 10k point task done. You can try and gamble with these a little bit too, because the rares, if you happen to get lucky with the uncommon here, you get some decent payouts, and you can probably finish that a little cheaper. But if you're also farming the aquatic battleships, the low-level 40s or whatever, then you're also getting these rare opportunity chips. Oops, that's the wrong bundle. I'm in the wrong pack. Special opportunity chips, which require these rare chips here. And this is guaranteed rares and epics. Also, every 3 days. And that'll help you get a nice little surplus going of those rare and epic materials, so you can keep dumping them into those mega chests. So there's all kinds of information on Dolomite and what I think you should do with it if you have it, and if you are looking to acquire it from the event store. Just some thoughts.